Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing some dip powder nails and character nail art using products from Double Dip Nails. I do want to go ahead and thank Double Dip Nails for sponsoring today's video. So like I just said, we are going to be doing some dip powder nails today, but I'm going to be doing them over top of jelly tips. So for the jelly tips, I'm going to be using products from the Magic Gel Tip Kit. This is a full kit that has everything you need for jelly tip nails. This kit comes with the mini UV LED nail lamp. Mine is a little bit dirty, so please just ignore that. This kit also comes with the 4-in-1 base coat gel. This is a very thick gel that holds the jelly tips into place. This kit also includes the jelly tips. These are long coffin clear full cover nail tips. It does have a bunch of different sizes as well. For this video though, I am going to be using the Bellavina jelly tips. These are the stiletto medium. Again, these are the same thing, it is just a different shape and length. I am choosing to use these only because I already planned to do stiletto or almond shaped nails. So here are some new dip powder colors from Double Dip. I will get into this a little bit later on into the video. So one last thing I do want to say before we move on to the nail set is everything you see in today's video will be linked down below in the description. For all of the Double Dip Nails products, you can use my discount code KCNAILS20 to save a little bit of money on your purchase. Let's move on to the nails. Okay. So once you have your jelly tip sizes picked out, keep in mind you want to make sure the jelly tip properly fits your nail. So that means sizing them from sidewall to sidewall. If the cuticle does not perfectly match, that is fine. You can go ahead and file it to fit perfectly. But the main thing when picking out your sizes is to make sure it goes from side to side. You do not want to have any gaps on the sides of your nail, and if you are in between sizes, do size up because you can file the sides to fit perfectly. So the next step, once you have your sizes picked out, is to take an e-file and we're going to be prepping the jelly tips. This is the Double Dip Nails Professional Portable e-file, the 2022 edition. Look how pretty these colors are. If you want to see a full unboxing, I will link the video here. I will be using a fine grit sanding band. For the speed of the prep, I am going to be using about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. You really don't need it to be too high for this step. We're only going to be filing the inside of the jelly tip. This is going to allow the jelly tip to properly adhere to the nail. Keep in mind, I am not going to be prepping the practice hand, but if you do want your nails to last, definitely do not skip out on this step of prepping your jelly tips. After filing the insides of the jelly tips, you want to go ahead and file around the cuticle and sidewall areas of the nail. This is going to help the jelly tip blend in with your natural nails as best as possible. Especially when doing a dip powder over top of full cover nail tips, you do not want to skip out on this step. Also, because we are doing dip powder over top, I'm just going to go ahead and file over the surface as well, just to make sure that the dip powder properly adheres. So the next thing that you want to do to ensure that your jelly tips look as best as possible is to hold the jelly tip up towards the cuticle area and make sure that it perfectly matches your own. If it doesn't match perfectly, you can use a hand file and go ahead and file around the cuticle of the jelly tip just to make sure that it perfectly fits. Or if you have a large amount of jelly tip that needs to be removed, you can take some nail clippers and gently cut away at the corners. So the last step for your jelly tip prep just before applying it to the nail is to actually clean the underside from all of the dust from the filing. So I am taking a small stiff manicure brush and I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of the dust. So my secret for making jelly tips last as long as possible is to take a primer and apply a thin layer of this on the inside of the jelly tip. This is the adhesive primer from the Premium Jelly Liquid Kit. I love that kit so much. If you are wanting your nails to last, definitely invest in that kit as well. Another great tip for lasting jelly tip manicure is to take the protein bond and apply this to your prepped nails. After the protein bond is dry, you do want to apply adhesive primer to the nails as well. If you still experience lifting after doing all of these steps, try adding a second layer of the primer. The next step is to take the 4-in-1 base coat gel and apply a thin layer to all of your natural nails and cure for a full minute. So like I have mentioned, I'm not going to be doing any prep for these nails just because this is my practice hand. I will be using this little UV flashlight just to make sure I'm able to flash cure the nails into place before I have to move it under the mini lamp, just because this is a practice hand and it does make it a little bit harder to cure under the lamps. So I like to make sure to place a smaller amount of gel on the inside of the tip. A lot of people bubble the product by doing a motion like this, but I have found that doing it that way, it's kind of hard to judge exactly how much gel you put inside of the tip, and that can cause a lot of overflow at the free edge of the nail. To apply the jelly tips, you're going to put a lot of pressure towards the cuticle and slowly push down until the jelly tip is in the perfect position. For this, you do want to make sure the gel fully covers the entire nail bed of your natural nail. Once I have it in place, I am going to go ahead and flash cure. And I am taking the mini lamp and I'm going to do a full 60-second cure under the light. So that is how you properly apply your jelly tips. If you do get any gel on the side towards your skin, don't worry, you can file it off after the nails are cured. So because you guys already seen that in depth, I am going to go ahead and do all of the other nails. Doing jelly tips is actually really easy once you get the hang of it. It does take a little bit of time and practice. So if you guys are just starting out, keep it up, keep practicing, and you'll definitely get better. Especially if you are a beginner, I would recommend that you start with the pinky nail first and work your way in towards the thumb. The reason that I say that is because typically the pinky is a lot smaller than the thumbnail. And if you start with the thumbnail first, you will get used to applying a lot of gel into the jelly tip. Then by the time you get to the pinky, you will overflow the nail with too much gel. Once you have all of the jelly tips fully cured into place, the next thing you want to do is take a hand file and go ahead and refine the shape of the nail. I am doing this because some of the edges are not properly shaped. I would definitely recommend you do not skip this step whenever you're applying jelly tips. So here are the jelly tips applied and ready for the next product application. So here are the new colors that I picked out. These are December releases from Double Dip Nails. I did go ahead and swatch these colors as dip powder off camera, so here are the swatches. If you guys do not know, Double Dip Nails dip powder can also be used as acrylic. Let me know down below in the comments which is your favorite color. So these are the two dip powder colors I'm going to be using for today's video. So anytime you dip chunky glitter dip powders, you do want to use a dip powder tray. This is the French tip dip powder tray from Double Dip Nails. I'm going to start with Holly Jolly and I'm going to pour a decent amount of this powder into the dip powder tray. So for the dip powder application, I will be using the dip base. This is step number 2. It's a nail resin that adheres the powder to the nail. I'm going to apply a thin layer to the entire pinky nail. Since we are working over full cover jelly tips, we do not have to build any structure for the nail. The strength is already in the jelly tip. Immediately after applying the dip base, you want to turn the hand upside down and press it down firmly into the dip powder. After dipping, you do want to tap away the excess and gently pat down any chunky glitter. After the dip powder layer is fully dry, you want to take a stiff manicure brush and go ahead and remove all of the remaining powder from the nail. I'm going to repeat the same process for a second layer of this glitter. If you guys watch my videos, you will know that anytime I do chunky glitter dip powders, I only do 2 layers. I will never do more than 2 layers of chunky glitter dip powders, just because if you do more than 2, it will make your nails start looking a little bit too bulky. In addition to not wanting the nail to look too bulky, because we did apply the full cover gel tips, You do want to make sure if you do dip powder over top not to do too many layers because it will definitely make your nails look too bulky. A lot of the times these types of nail tips are made to be worn by themselves or maybe with some gel polish, but typically they do have enough strength to last on their own. So just because I plan to do some nail art in the middle and the bottom part of the nail, there's no pink glitter here at the top. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the dip base, apply it where I want to apply the glitter, take some tweezers and pick up the glitter and place it directly in the area that I want. For the ring and the thumbnail, I will be using the color Twinkle Lights. So after you have your glitter dip powders applied, the next step is to encapsulate. So here I have the 000 clear base dip powder. We're just going to be doing as many layers as it takes to get a smooth surface to file over. I really hope that I can do 2 or less layers just because I don't want the nails to be too bulky. Whenever you're encapsulating a glitter, I definitely recommend that you pour the clear over top instead of dipping the glitter into the clear. I'm going to repeat the exact same process to all of the other nails. After applying 2 coats of the clear dip powder, the next step is to take the activator. This is step number 3, and we're going to apply this very generously to all of the nails. Activator hardens the layers of powder and allows you to properly shape and file. After the activator has fully dried, you're then going to take a hand file and go ahead and file and shape the nails. Okay, so now that I have all of the nails shaped and filed, the next step is to take the activator once again and apply another layer to all of the nails. So now that the dip powder application is finished, I am going to go ahead and apply a matte gel top coat to all of the nails. And after applying the matte gel top coat, I am going to go ahead and cure for a full minute. So here, really quick, I'm going to be mixing up some gel polish colors for the character nail art. I will be placing my gel polishes here on this tile. So for the colors, I do have to make a dark blue color. So I'm just taking a blue and black gel liner from Double Dip. They actually don't sell the collection that both of these are from anymore, but I will try to link as many products that I use as possible. For the nail art, I will be using a 5mm liner brush, and I'm just going to be doing basically all of the nail art with this. I'll also be taking this dark green gel liner. This is from the Fall to Harvest gel liner collection. I'm just placing some of this on the palette as well. I will use a little bit of the 746 gel polish. This is from the gel polish and nail lacquer sets. And the main color for the first character is white. So I have the super white gel polish. This is a very pigmented white gel. So now that we have the colors picked out, let's go ahead and start the nail art. So as you can see, I did already do the sketch of the character we're going to be doing. I did this with a pencil. I did decide not to record this part just because it's very time consuming and it's a little bit hard for you guys to see exactly what it looks like. The character nail art we're going to be doing today does come from the cartoon Strawberry Shortcake. This is actually the cartoon from 2003 to 2008, and we're going to start with Cupcake. So I'm just starting with the white gel polish, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in all of the white areas of the character. So the reason I'm doing Strawberry Shortcake character nail art is because I wanted to do a pink character design, and the first character that I thought of was Strawberry Shortcake. So that is why I did decide to do some Strawberry Shortcake nails. kind of looks like a panda. Once I have the white gel down, I am going to go ahead and cure it. It was not even on. So once I have the white gel cured, I am going in with the dark blue gel that I mixed up, and we're going to go ahead and do all of the blue parts of the character. So there's actually a lot of different versions of Strawberry Shortcake throughout the years. I think the earliest Strawberry Shortcake was like 1980. So I had quite a few different versions of her to pick from. I watched the version from 2003 a lot during my childhood, so that is the one I'm going to be doing. And I actually dressed up as Strawberry Shortcake one year for Halloween, and I think it was the next year I dressed up as Ginger Snap. So we are going to be doing those two characters as well. I did kind of basically just pick out the characters that I liked most as a kid. Of course, aside from Strawberry Shortcake herself and Ginger Snap, I really liked the dog. I couldn't remember the name, so I did have to Google it. And then I remembered the main pet character for Strawberry Shortcake was actually her cat. But I did still want to do the dog anyway because I really like dogs. And the last character that I really liked was Orange Blossom, so we're going to be doing her as well. I did also like, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I'll post a picture here. I really liked her, but I don't really have enough nails. I'm not going to be doing 5 characters. That is absolutely crazy. Maybe I will if it doesn't take too long, but I think that's a little bit too time consuming. Once I have all of the blue gel done, I am going to go ahead and cure. So while I was curing the blue, I was looking a lot at the reference photo that I created, and I don't have too much room above the eyes for the eyebrows. So I'm just going to bring down the blue spot around the eye just a little bit. My chair scared me. My chair is a little bit squeaky, so my husband got me a new one for Christmas, and I'm currently trying to put it together, and I'm struggling. So I will be having a new chair very soon that doesn't squeak. So also taking this white, I'm going to go ahead and do the highlight of the eyes. So because I only did a tiny area of the white, I am going ahead and taking the red gel, and I'm going to do the strawberry for his color. And I'm going to go ahead and cure. Then taking the green gel, we're going to do the color. This color is a little bit too dark, but I think it works just fine. I kind of forgot to do the tongue, so I just quickly mixed a little bit of red with white, and I'm going to do a little dot for the tongue and cure. Next, I am taking a black liner gel, and I'm going to use this for the outline. I'm also going to be doing the eyebrows. Really quickly, the reason I'm using the black gel liner instead of the black gel polish liner, these are actually very different products. So just very quickly, the gel liner is a lot thicker and very, very pigmented. The gel liners are pigmented, but not quite as pigmented as a black liner gel that is specifically made for this type of art. This type of gel polish liner is really good if you're doing more simplistic type nail art, but for very, very tiny thin lines, it doesn't quite give me as much pigment as a liner gel. I'm going to go ahead and cure this part of the outline. I am doing full cures for every time I need to cure. I do not like to flash cure nail art just because I have had that backfire on me before. I don't quite cure long enough and the gel starts to wrinkle and then it ruins the nail art. So keep in mind, for every time I need to cure, I am doing a full minute cure. Okay, so off camera, I quickly did the eyes, and I did this off camera because if you guys have seen my other videos with character nail art, I usually do the eyes and facial features off camera anyway, just because they're so tiny. I need 100% concentration, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to see while filming. So I just went ahead and did the eyes, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up the outlines. I don't think I've quite mentioned yet about the inspo pictures. So this does not come from a nail set. This actually comes from individual pictures I found on Pinterest or Google. And I actually started kind of not really photoshopping but editing my pictures in a way that I can clearly see how the nails are going to turn out. And this is the inspo picture that I created. I am going by this picture for today's nail set. This is not perfect, it's just for me to get a good idea of where I want to place everything and how everything should look. If you guys do want to see a tutorial on how I create this type of picture for a reference, definitely leave it down below in the comments and I will consider to make that a video. This type of reference photo is really good for me because I am a very visual person, and just imagining where I should place the characters on the nail is not quite getting it for me. So clearly seeing where I need to place everything on the nail is exactly what I needed. So I started doing this for the nail designs. I feel like so far filming this video, the topics that I'm talking to you guys about is kind of all over the place. So I do want to apologize if you're not quite able to fully connect the dots on my conversations. It's really hard to talk and have to take breaks and continue talking about the same topic. Because again, keep in mind, this is being filmed over a few days. I really don't think I'll finish tonight, and this is the second night doing this nail art. So I'm thinking it's gonna take me 3 days again, just as the Mickey Mouse nails did. I don't mind, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult to keep up with the conversations that I've been having with you guys. So once all of the nail art for Pupcake is completed and fully cured, we are going to go ahead and top coat. I'm going to be using Double Dip Nails Top Coat Gel. This is from any of their polygel kits. I will link my favorite one down below. I'm just going to go ahead and top coat the nail to finish off the pinky. After applying the gel top coat, I am going to go ahead and cure. So here is Pupcake. Look how cute he is. I love how this one turned out. So moving on to the ring fingernail, we are going to be doing Ginger Snap. So now that we're moving on, I have already done the sketch of the character. This one was a little bit harder to draw out, like the lead from the pencil didn't really want to transfer onto the matte gel top coat. I have to work on that, but for now this will do. I am taking a medium skin tone color and I'm going to go ahead and draw out her face. I don't know if you guys can tell, but you can kind of see the guideline right here. Hopefully I can cover that up fully or it's not too noticeable, but that is one thing about doing sketches for character nail art or any type of nail art. If the pigment in the polish is not super pigmented with one layer, you might have to do two, which is not that fun. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue the nail art. Once I have the skin tone done, I am going to go ahead and cure. After that's cured, I am taking this really pretty like magenta type color. This is number 3. Again, this was from the first gel liner collection. I'm going to be placing some of this on the palette. Using that magenta color, we're going to be doing her jacket. By the way, if you didn't figure it out, this little skin tone right here is her hand. So we're going to be doing the sleeve. I know we haven't quite got there yet, but she is wearing a hat, and above the brim of the hat, she has like a little line of a different color, which is very similar to the jacket color. I just quickly mixed up a slightly lighter shade of that, and I'm going to go ahead and do that stripe. I also know we haven't done her hair yet, but her hair ties are pink as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the little line for those. These don't have to be perfect because I will be going over this with black gel liner. I will say drawing with pink over top of pink glitter dip powder is a little bit confusing. So one more thing I want to do is add the little gingerbread man. This is so tiny and I didn't quite give myself enough space. Maybe that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cure that. So to the blue I used for Pupcake, I did add a little bit of white gel polish and I made this slightly lighter shade of blue, and I'm using this for her hat. Her hat is really big. Like all of the hats for the characters of Strawberry Shortcake for this season at least are like huge. So it kind of takes up most of the room that I have on the nail for these. So I think right now that's the best I can do for the gingerbread man. Again, this is a very small. Keep in mind, these nails are not like long or extra long. These are mediums. The reason I'm not making the characters bigger than they are is because I do want to show a little bit of the background dip powder color, and if I made the characters any smaller, I would not be able to do any detail on them. So I felt like this was the best size I could do for these characters to get the detail in them, but also not fully cover up the background color. I know I literally just said I'm not fully covering up the nail, but I'm kind of doing that. I'm trying not to, guys. It's just, this is really difficult. I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to, so I do apologize in advance if I cover up almost all of the dip powder color. Next, I am taking this light shade of yellow. This is number 1 from the Fall the Harvest gel liner collection from Double Dip. Using this color, we're going to do her belt and also the squiggly line above the brim of her hat. We're about to do the black outline, but really quickly I want to go ahead and add her shirt. And I'm going to take this dark brown gel liner. This is number 7 from the Fall the Harvest collection, and we're going to be doing her eyes. For the eyes at the moment, we're just taking a small dotting tool to do the irises. Okay, so once again, I did the eyes off camera. These were so tedious and hard to do. These are much bigger than the pictures of the characters as well. If you forgot, look how tiny their eyes are. There was no way I was going to be able to make them that tiny. I also added highlights in Ginger Snap's eyes just because in the reference photo that I used, she did not have any highlights, and it did kind of just like drown out her eyes a little bit. So to bring them back to life, I did add the little highlights. So again, we're just going to go ahead and start doing the black liner for the detail of Ginger Snap. I really love drawing noses that are like this. It is so easy. Something else that I noticed looking at this specific reference photo is she doesn't have eyebrows. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out like her hair and around her head. And if it still looks like she needs eyebrows, I will go ahead and add them. So I have decided to add some eyebrows. So I went ahead and finished up most of the outline, and I did mix up a slightly darker brown shade, and we're going to be doing the blushing circles on her cheeks. So the last thing is to highlight her hair. So I'm taking the super white gel polish again, and we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and cure. And the last step for the ring fingernail is to go ahead and top coat. And here is the finished ring fingernail, which is Ginger Snap. So that concludes day 2 working on this manicure. Today I did buff the nails from the dip powder application. I applied the matte gel top coat, and I did the pinky and the ring fingernail. It is currently like 1:15 in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to sleep, and we'll finish this up tomorrow. So moving on to the middle fingernail, this is going to be Strawberry Shortcake. I do have some colors already placed. These are colors that I have used throughout the manicure. So another color I am going to be needing for Strawberry Shortcake is a pink. So this is the pink gel liner. This is number 9 from the Glow the Night gel liner collection. So this one does glow in the dark. It is pretty vibrant, so I think I might mix it with some white just to tone it down a little bit. So taking the nude gel polish color, I'm going to go ahead and fill in her skin color. Once I have her skin color done, I am going to go ahead and cure. So I went ahead and mixed up the pink gel liner with the white to create a pastel pink, and I'm going to go ahead and do her hat and her shirt. One thing I was looking at was with Ginger Snap, she covered the entire nail and you can't really see any of the dip powder color. So for this one, I tried to position it a little bit better so you might be able to see a little bit more of the purple color. So even though it's been quite a few days since the new year, I am just now posting my first video of 2023. And something I do want to tell you guys is one of my biggest goals for my YouTube channel for this year is to do a lot more character and detailed nail art. So if you guys have any recommendations of character designs that you would like to see on my channel, definitely leave it down below in the comments. Once I have all of the pink down, I am going to go ahead and cure. Now that the pink is cured, I am taking the white to do the stripe above the brim of her hat. There is like a little bow right here, so I'm just gonna make the white area a little bit bigger. It doesn't quite show it on my reference photo, but I'm also going to do the other side just because I do have enough room. So taking the dark blue color, this is the blue gel liner mixed with a little bit of black, and I'm going to go ahead and draw out her jeans. For the reference photo of Strawberry Shortcake, she is sitting down and she has her arms over top of her knees. So just keep that in mind if it looks a little bit weird. In addition to doing her pants, which is just like filling in the tip of the nail, I am going to go ahead and do her hair. So for this, I am using the red gel polish. This is 746. So the Strawberry Shortcake that I watched the most growing up, she had really short hair, but I really like the character with longer hair. So that is why I'm choosing to do her hair longer. I almost forgot, but before we cure that, I am taking the red gel to do the strawberry inside of the bow on her hat. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and cure. Then taking the green gel liner, we're going to do a line down the white part on her hat. That does include the bow and the leaves of the strawberry. And the last thing that is green on her at the moment is the flowers that she's holding. You can't really see the whole thing, so it kind of just looks like grass. But this is just coming out of her hand. I mixed up a slightly more red shade of pink than her shirt, and we're going to be doing strawberries along her hat. And I'm going to go ahead and cure. So I have already done her eyes off camera, and I'm going to start doing her facial features. I do have the highlights to add to her hair, and then we'll be outlining, but I wanted to go ahead and do the eyes just to make sure this character is turning out as close to the reference photo as possible. It almost looks like her mouth. That's her nose. Jeez. She also has freckles, so I am taking a dotting tool and a brown color, and we're gonna go ahead and do her freckles. So taking a little bit of the strawberry color I used for the hat, I'm going to do some very, very tiny lips. That is it. I honestly don't know why Ginger Snap didn't have lips. Keep in mind, this reference photo that I used for Strawberry Shortcake was a little bit more up to date than the other two characters. But yeah, anyway, she has lips. Using the light pink gel that I used for the hat, I'm going to go in and add some highlights to her hair. This is like my favorite part. I feel like it really draws the entire design together, like with the detail. So this is one of my favorite parts. Then taking the dotting tool with the white gel liner, I'm going to add the highlights to her eyes. Just before I cure, I am taking a dry pointy brush and I'm going to slightly blend out some of the highlights. I'm doing this because the highlight is a little bit too light for the red color and I want it to look a little bit more blended. And of course, the last step is to outline the entire design. For the reference photo, she is not outlined in black, and I really think that is pretty, but just to keep the consistency within this nail design, I am going to go ahead and outline her in black anyway. So the last thing I'm doing is taking a slightly pinker gel, and I'm going to do the rosy parts on her cheeks. And of course, the last step is to take the top coat gel and go ahead and top coat the nail. And of course, the last step for this nail is to go ahead and cure. And here is Strawberry Shortcake. Okay, so onto the index nail. I really struggled getting the pencil down on this nail, so my guidelines are basically non-existent. But I'm going to go ahead and start doing Orange Blossom. I know at this point in the video I'm not doing a ton of talking, but I am trying to really focus on the nail art, and for me it is really hard to talk and do nail art at the same time, especially if I want the nail art to turn out as best as possible. So I'm not really gonna do too much talking through the rest of the video. Most of the nail art for each character is very similar. We're just changing the colors and maybe the position of what we're drawing, but it's basically the exact same steps. You do want to start with your skin color and do all of the other gel colors and then outline last. Once I have the skin tone down, I am going to go ahead and cure. I did decide to add the shading on the side of her face at her ear. I didn't really add shading to the other characters, but I felt like for this specific character it looked really good on her, so I did want to include that. These are the two orange gel liners that I'm going to be using for this character. One is darker and one is lighter. This one is a little bit more yellow toned, which I think is perfectly fine because she does really like oranges. And the reference does kind of have like a yellow tone and also an orange tone. So I feel like these are two really good colors to use. This one is number 5 from the first collection, and this one is number 7 from the Glow the Night collection. So taking the darker orange color, we're going to start on her hat. This hat is absolutely huge, just like Ginger Snap's. So I might try to squish it down a little bit so it's not quite so big, because again, I don't want it to cover the entire nail. And her sweatshirt is also the exact same orange color, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that out. So basically my phone stopped recording because my storage was full, so I had to do another transfer to my laptop. But I just finished up the shirt, which I was basically finished with anyway, and I did go ahead and cure. So now I'm taking the yellow and I'm going to go ahead and do her hat and the flower on her shirt. There's also another flower like the one on her shirt in between the yellow and the orange on her hat. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some of the leaves. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and cure. Going back with the orange color, I'm going to do the squiggly line on the yellow part of the hat. I'm also going to fix the center of the flower on her shirt. Just quickly mixed up a darker orange shade, and I'm going to do some shadows on her shirt, just because if I don't, it's going to look very flat. Using this color, I'm also going to do like the stitching on her hat. It is just a bunch of tiny dots that go from one side of the brim all the way to the other. She does have some oranges around the yellow flower, so I'm going to try and do 2 of those. And the flower also has some flowers around it. Instead of outlining the entire hat with black, I am taking the red gel polish just to do a little bit of the outline. I'm going to take the white gel and go ahead and do the white parts of her eyes. Just to kind of get it out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and do the blushing on her cheeks. This is a little bit of a weirdish color to me, like it's a little bit more orange than I would expect. So because there's such a color difference in between the blushing and her skin tone, I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out a little bit. Next, I am taking a super dark brown gel polish and we're going to be doing her hair. I'm taking the dark green gel liner that I used earlier and I'm going to add some shading to the leaves. And I'm going to cure. I'm going to try and do the eyes on camera for this one just because I haven't done it for any of the other ones. So I'm taking the dotting tool and that super dark brown gel that I used, and I'm going to go ahead and do her pupils. She looks scared. So taking the black gel liner, I'm going to go ahead and outline the eyes. So I just tried to outline it in black and it looked really bad, so I'm taking the same dark brown just to outline the eyes. So for her nose, she has like a little highlight, so I'm taking a lighter brown shade and I'm just going to do a little dot just like that, and I'm going to go ahead and cure that. So because the dark brown for the outline of the eyes looked really good, I'm going to try and use that for the nose and the mouth. For the nose, it's just a little line underneath that little highlight. Why didn't you guys tell me my nail was coming out? Okay, so it's just a little line. And of course, I am taking the white gel to add the highlight in her eyes. And I'm going to cure. And the last thing we're going to do for the nail art is to outline some things in black. Once I have the outline like I want, I'm going to go ahead and cure. And the last step is to go ahead and top coat. And after applying the top coat, the last step for the index nail is to cure. And here is Orange Blossom. I do think that this one is my favorite character of this nail set. For the thumb, I'm just going to do the logo of Strawberry Shortcake, the show, just because I don't really know what I want to do on this one, and I'm definitely not doing another character just because it's being very time consuming. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the logo. I can't fit it. So because that idea didn't quite work out for me, I think I'm just going to draw a strawberry. This was kind of my original idea for the thumbnail, but I thought it might be a little bit too simplistic. So that is why I was like, well, let me try to do the logo. Just because this is characters from a show, I thought it might fit a little bit better. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and draw out a strawberry. Next, I am taking the green gel liner and we're gonna go ahead and do the stem. So then taking the yellow, this is number 1 from the Fall Harvest collection, I'm going to put this on the palette. This is like the perfect color for the seeds of the strawberry. I'm gonna be using this color, of course, for the seeds. Next, I am taking the darker green gel liner from the Fall Harvest collection and we're going to be doing some shading on the stem. And I'm going to blend out some of that green. Taking a super light pink color that I mixed, I'm going to do a tiny bit of highlight on some of the strawberry just to make it look a little bit realistic. So I'm just taking the blender brush again and I'm just softly blending out some of the harshness of the white gel polish. So I'm just taking a lint-free wipe with some rubbing alcohol and I'm going to clean out just over the seeds. And I'm going to go ahead and cure. And of course, the last step is to apply the top coat. And of course, I'm going to cure. And here is the thumbnail. So here are the nails. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any recommendations for future character nail art, definitely leave it down below in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!